So I am on page 23. We're going to be talking about the null and the alternative hypothesis. Okay, this is going to get into kind of the legal side of sounding of statistics. Okay, because you're going to start using some terms. This is how you collect. If you want to go and start collecting data, you have to create a hypothesis and a null first. Basically, before you create a null or an alternative, you have been part of an organization, kind of making observations on things. Once you made those observations, you want to see that if you're observing, if it's going to go one way or the other. Okay, so the previous chapter set up the math behind statistical evidence. The process of evaluating the strength of our evidence is called the hypothesis testing. Okay. So, the null hypothesis is based on the concept no. So, when you see the null hypothesis, this is looking at the no. Okay? There's no effect on change difference of what we observe, or perhaps the current status quo applies. Okay? The null hypothesis is the hypothesis used in statistics that proposes that no statistical significance exists in given observations. The alternative is the yes. And this could be directional. I'm serious.
I'm so sorry.
Okay? Meaning it could go to the left, it could go to the right. It could go both ways. Okay? All right. So null hypothesis denoted by H naught, and the alternative is denoted by either H1 or HA. Okay, so those are, when you start seeing stuff, that's what we're going to deal with. Okay, so, and we're just going to talk about how we would make these take place. So example 1 says, we wish to study to see if there is a new medication for lowering cholesterol. Okay, so this drug company is basically creating a drug. They want to know if it's going to lower cholesterol. Okay, so the null hypothesis is the new medication has no effect on cholesterol level. Well, that's kind of bad. But the alternative, the new medication lowers cholesterol. Okay, so at the very bottom of 23, when it says lowers cholesterol, that is one direction. Does that make sense if I say one direction? Lowers is a direction. Agree?
Yes.
All right. Example 2 on page 24 says, we wish to study to see if yoga reduces stress levels. So the null hypothesis, yoga has no effect on stress levels. The alternative, HA, yoga reduces stress levels. Is reducing a direction? Is reducing a direction? Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing as lowering, right? Okay, so that is also put next to example 2 for the alternative, HA, that yoga reduces stress level one direction. And I will, as we progress, the one direction is going to make more and more sense as we move on. Example 3, there is a gender difference in the ability to learn foreign language. So our null hypothesis, there is no gender difference in the ability to learn a foreign language. The alternative is there is gender difference in the ability to learn a foreign language. Is that one or two directions? It's two directions. Okay? We don't know. Maybe gender would show higher. Maybe it would show lower. We don't have. So put two directions in example 3. Example 4, guys up front. Is the unemployment rate lowering in recent years? Okay, friends, this is a classic. This is a classic. This is a very political thing that's done a lot around elections. And you want to know what they do a lot of times to show that unemployment's going one way or the other? they changed the definition of unemployment. They changed the rules as they play the game. So it's like, hey, look, things now are better than they were then. Take a look at it. It's like, well, I've seen them change it anywhere to say define someone who is unemployed. They claim they changed a few years ago unemployment to you had to be actively seeking a job for 3 months or 5 months or 7 months or something like that in order to define if someone's unemployed. Someone who's not seeking employment is not classified as unemployed, even if they did need a job. Okay, so they change it, and that's kind of unfortunate.
So I've been unemployed?
So those are things, well, no, not necessarily.
Personally unemployed.
What's that mean?
I learned about it in macro.
So you have to watch out when they start saying, hey, take a look at our numbers if you ever get bored enough and you're watching the daily news or you're watching the world news. There are things that they will say that, my friends, what I want you to convey that comes out of this class is please, please, please do your research on something that's taking place, okay? I was interviewed by our school newspaper, our school journal. There's a new math curriculum that's basically coming like a steam engine at us. And I'm not going to tell you if I'm for or against it, but before I made a opinion on it, I went and looked at, I know what our curriculum is, and I went and looked at this curriculum, and I made a decision. So my decision, the hard thing with just anything in life is you will hear people's opinions on things, and if that sways you to change your opinion on it without doing research, shame on you, okay? Make a good, go and investigate it. Take a look at what things are or aren't. And so the young lady who was interviewing me, I think she really wanted me to slam upon the new curriculum that's coming out. And I just put it out there saying, if anyone is curious to see what our curriculum is and what this curriculum is, I welcome anybody to come in and take a look at what we do versus what this does. And make your own judgment call, okay? That is a big thing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that are coming to light with just anything. I mean, just society. You guys have you've all seen society just going sideways in the past 5, 6, 7 years about political things. But they hear from somebody, they say a post that was made by somebody, and it's like, oh, this is the gospel truth. No, please do your research to form your own opinion based on your own research. Don't take what you had seen, as a Snapchat or Instagram or any type of social media post. If it's something you have an interest in, look into it. Okay? So the unemployment rate is lowering in recent years. Our null hypothesis, H sub 0 or H naught. There has been no significant change in unemployment rates in recent years. The alternative, HA, the unemployment rate has been lowering. Is that one direction?
Yes.
Yeah, lowering one direction. Okay? Example 5, the average IQ overall is 100, but people who work crossword puzzles regularly have a higher IQ average, or average IQ. So our null, the average IQ of crossword puzzle solvers is 100. Okay? That's just saying what the normal average is. The alternative is the IQ of crossword puzzle solvers is greater than 100. Is that one direction or two? One. Higher is one direction. It's to the right. And then my last thing for today is the unemployment rate is below 4%. So our null hypothesis, the unemployment rate is not below 4%. The alternative, the unemployment rate is below 4%. Is that one directional? Below? Direction? Less than? It is. Okay. So that is my introduction to you. So page 91 and 92. I bet you would get done before the end of the period, 1 through 10 all. Okay, that's all I have for you. Maybe this